Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Comic Talk. Here I am, Ryan Murphy, and I'm very pleased and honored to be here with our second interview with the great Jimmy Palmiotti. I get goosebumps a little bit because he's here with me, and a lot of these interviews we just kind of go over from your beginnings to modern day. We did that with Jimmy last time, so I just wanted to catch up with him and see like what's new because Jimmy, you're always cooking up creator-owned comics. You're starting Kickstarters. You got a Kickstarter going on right now, so just. So I think this will be a short and sweet one, kind of. But let us know what you've been up to for the past year and what fans can expect coming in the future.
You're right. I mean, yeah, this Kickstarter might be over by the time people. I only have like a week left on it, but it's a Painkiller Jane GI Zombie crossover. It's two books. It's one big story, but it's in two books, and it's using a character that Justin Gray and I created for DC Comics called GI Zombie. We had a series at DC, and we had the rights reversion back to us, so we got the character, and I figured, well, let me put her into the Painkiller Jane universe and do a book about them. And that's a Kickstarter that's currently running. It's got a couple of days left, maybe like 7 days, 6, 7 days left. And we're doing pretty good. We hit our goals, so anybody that backs it now is going to get the extras, the stretch goal stuff, which is always fun. We need more stuff in our lives. That's what I got currently going on. I have Mad Cave is putting out the Pop Kill books,
Mm-hmm.
and this was a Kickstarter I did 3.5 years ago with Dave Johnson, and we did very well with it. And we sold it. Well, we did a deal with Mad Cave to put it out for the general public. So all the Kickstarter extras and the covers and stuff, they're not being used at Mad Cave. So Mad Cave had the rule was the Kickstarter people have their unique books.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Mad Cave, we did new covers on it, but it's doing very well. The first issue did over 50,000 in sales, which is very big for any company at this point. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a superhero comic, and it's a spy book. It's about a science. It's about two competing soda companies in Japan, and they're run by twin brothers and who don't get along. And basically, it's about a scientist who figured out a way to extend the life of carbonation in soda. And of course, every soda company wants this formula because it'll make their business like they'll be the number one business if you can have soda where you can open and close it forever and it's still always fresh. So, and the story is about a spy that's hired to get her to work for a competing company, but then there's other companies involved, and it's like a really misogynistic James Bond. Like we went full on crazy on it. It is adults only comic, and it's funny and it's weird. It's like James Bond mixed with Japanese culture stuff, and it's a fun book. And that one's issue 2 just came out this week. And then the other title I'm working on, which is a monthly ongoing, is the Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger. That is done for Todd McFarlane. It is the Gunslinger character, which is their most popular book, but it's set in the Old West, so it's set right after the Civil War. And Todd's book is the gunslinger in modern day. Mine is the origin, the roots of who the gunslinger is in the Old West. So it's got definitely a different tone to it. It's if you like westerns, if you like crazy horror and crazy superhero antics. I won't even call him a superhero. It's a bizarre character. It's a fun character, but it's an ongoing series. So issue 5 is coming out this week, and I'm having a blast with it. Working for Todd is, he's one of my heroes in comics. So now I'm working for him. That's kind of cool.
That's fantastic.
Um, and then last but certainly not least, coming in July, my wife Amanda and I are doing a 6-issue miniseries company crossover. So it's between Dynamite and DC Comics,
Wow.
and it's a Harley Quinn meets Elvira.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the two characters meet and cause chaos, and it's a lot of fun. And Amanda's doing covers, she's co-writing it with me, and she's even doing some of the art inside some of the books. But that's a 6-issue thing that runs from July, August, September, November, July till the end of the year. And so that's what I'm currently working on, besides index card full of other things that I have to get to. But I'm keeping busy, you know?
Yeah.
Keeps me out of trouble, as Amanda says. It keeps me out of trouble.
Well, you brought up a couple crossovers, and that's an idea that I was just telling my friends the other day. I was like, I love crossovers. Like, I love nothing geeks me out as a fan. There's a guy named Freddie Williams. Maybe you know him.
I know Freddie.
Yeah, he
Yes.
calls himself the crossover guy because he's worked on like Ninja Turtles and Batman, and
Yeah.
I think there's one coming out called something of Grayskull. So it's a crossover between He-Man and something else.
Right.
Is that something you really get into? Is that like a big thing for you as much as it is
You
for
know,
me?
if it makes sense to me, like Godzilla and Popeye doesn't really make sense to me. Although Popeye would be on a boat, so it does kind of make sense. All right, I spoke too soon. Um, I think if it's fun, I think if the crossover can be fun, I kind of like it. It is a lot more work for us because we have to get everything approved by everybody.
Mhm.
So, and for this Elvira Harley, not only do we have to get Dynamite to approve everything, we have to get DC to approve everything, and then Cassandra, she has to kind of read her dialogue. She wants to make sure her character is Elvira's character is on cue. So we do get a lot of notes, and if you have thin skin, these are hard books to do. Fortunately, I'm used to it. A little art direction here and there, but you have to make everyone happy. And as everybody has learned, it's not easy to make everyone happy. Um, Amanda and I have to be happy with the story initially, but it's been really fun. I mean, I'm writing the third issue right now, and it's just crazy stuff. It's funny because Cassandra, Elvira, or we'll call her Elvira. Elvira's notes are always like, make it sexier, make it wilder. You know, DC's notes are a little bit like, they want to make sure the characters represented correctly. And let's be honest, Amanda and I've done over 100 books. We know how to represent. We know Harley Quinn pretty well. And then there's Dynamite, who has their own little ideas of what things should be done. But I think in the end, it's going to make everyone who likes both characters happy. Um, the story is written from the perspective of Amanda and I going, what would we want to see if we had Elvira and Harley in a comic? So we
Mhm.
wrote it from that perspective of fanboy perspective, right? Like, what would I want to see in this book? And it pretty much has everything you could think of. We had like a checklist of craziness that we're nailing every issue. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for people.
Mhm. Fantastic. And yeah, so that kind of tells us what's going on with you. Can you? I mean, I'm not asking for your address, but like, are you're still in Brooklyn,
No,
or
I'm in Florida. I'm down in
Florida? Oh, okay.
the Clearwater, Tampa area.
Oh, okay.
I moved down here years ago. We call it the sixth borough of New York, by the way, because there's so many New Yorkers here. There's a point where in Florida where it's in the south, but as you go down Florida, the more south you go, the more east it becomes. If that's but no, we've been down here for a while. We just like hold on, that's my wife asking me if I want to get a burger. Sure. She's very considerate. It's her aunt's birthday, so they
Oh.
all went to dinner, you know, um, tonight. And I said, "Well, I got some work to do, so you guys go enjoy dinner." Anyway, yeah. So it's Florida. It's crazy, Florida. Florida's crazy, just like New York. I do miss New York, but I know it's there when I want to go. Where are you from?
Well, we were just talking before the interview. I mentioned I'm in Iowa.
That's right, Iowa.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been trying to get out. My goal's been to live in LA for about 30 years, but it's I just got such a nice job. It's just hard to leave it when you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time for everything. Maybe down the line you go there. And it's funny, right? Because LA is another big city to me, right? When I go to LA, it's like the best part of LA for me is my friends that live there.
Mhm.
I go see my friends. The city itself, downtown, Hollywood is Hollywood. It's a touristy place, and but my friends are my friend. I love seeing my friends when I go to LA. I think I'm going in a couple of weeks for that the Thunderbolts premiere. So
Oh, that's
so I'm going in. I think that's in a couple of weeks from now. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I get to go there like a couple of times a year. I think the last time I went was for the it was for the Echo
Mm,
series. They flew us out for that one, and it was very nice of Marvel to do that. And yeah, those are fun to do. I mean, I'm just like a fly on the wall there with all
yeah.
the movie stars and stuff, but it's still kind of fun to be in. It's the best thing to do when you go there, right? Because you get to see that crazy world for an evening.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Is there been a movie star that you were kind of was ended up being a fan of yours that you were kind of surprised at? Or
they tell you anything, of course, to make you happy. But I will say, I am a huge fan of the writer Shane Black.
okay.
Okay. He's just I just love his work from the beginning, the Lethal Weapon movies to everything from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang to the Nice Guys. I've always loved his work. And I went to a convention in Long Beach in California, and he wrote and directed Iron Man 3, or at least I know he directed Iron Man 3, right? And
Yes.
he had a panel, and I kept asking questions. And after the panel on the way out, he kind of came over and he said, "Yeah, you got great questions, man. I really appreciate a good question." And we talked for a minute, and I said, "Yeah, I write comics and everything." And I said, I do a western and for DC." And he goes, "Wait a minute, you're not Jimmy Palmiotti, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Dude," he goes, "yours is the only comic book I buy." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." I'm like, "What?" Like I was just so caught off guard that he knew who I was, and he could not have been nicer. And he gave me his card and number, and he says, "Next time you're in LA, let's grab lunch." And true to his word, Amanda and I were out there like a year later, and I just sent him a text, and I said, "Hey, look, I know whatever, but Amanda and I got to be in." And he set up. We met for lunch, and we hung out, for a while, and it was the coolest thing, right? Because I'm a huge fan of his screenplays. I think he's just a brilliant director, and he's a brilliant writer. Never in a million years did I think somebody like him would know anything about, whatever. That's the only time I can honestly, genuinely feel like the guy knew who I was before he knew what I looked like or anything. He just knew my work. And yeah, that's the most flattery I've ever had. Like it was like a hand grenade of flattery, It just hit me like a hand grenade. Um I
Well,
definitely
I
walked
think. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no, like I said, I definitely walked around proud as like the next day, like, oh, Shane Black knows who I am. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting because comics are you've said to me before, comics are a pretty small
Yeah.
industry. We don't, that's part of the reason why I could be sitting talking to you and not Spielberg, because there's a smaller fan base, but at the same time, there's this amazing connection to the larger world, because, like, just to give you a quick example, uh, Harley Quinn is a very popular show. It's seen by millions of people around the world, and that's based on your work. I mean, that's a crazy thing. I mean, yes, Paul Dini created Harley Quinn, but she is who she's seen as in that show because of the writing and the work that you and Amanda did.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's
did
great.
you ever gotten to meet like Kaylee Cuoco or anything like that?
I sat for a reading on Big Bang, but I didn't go out, I didn't try to meet them. I felt like, that's like bothering them.
Mhm.
But we sat there for a reading for one of the episodes that Amanda did some artwork on. And another time we did it twice, and we talked to some of the other cast members. But I did meet Margot Robbie 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I met her was Amanda and I met her. We went to see the Suicide Squad premiere in New York, and the first movie. And we were at the after party, and she came up to us and she said, "Oh my God, you guys are here!" and blah blah blah. I'm so excited, And she obviously her person told them who we were, but the first thing she said to us is, "So what do you guys think? Did I do a good job?" And we were like, "You did an amazing job." I said, "You stole that movie. You stole it from Will Smith, I thought.
Yeah.
And then the second time we saw her was we got invited to the set for at the Warner Brothers lot for the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey movie.
Hmm.
And we arrived on set and they were shooting a roller skating in that club at the end of the movie. They're in like that big club and their fight scene. And Margot skated right up to us when they yelled cut. And she skated right up to us and gave us a hug and talked to us for a while, which was so insanely sweet and flattering. And and then when we went to the premiere in London, she invited us to her party. She had like a little private after party. And I got to meet Rosie Perez. That was one of my
Oh
highlights,
wow.
meeting
Wow.
Rosie Perez. Um, but it was a lot of fun to step into that world for a couple of minutes, for a day or an
Hmm.
evening. But I'm very grounded. I knew exactly what it was. It's like, okay, that's, here's the guys that, helped create the character. And she said, I based everything on your comics, the ones
Yeah.
I read. And I said, I could tell. I could tell. And even James Gunn, he used some stuff in the second Suicide Squad movie. He used stuff right from the comics. Um, so that kind of stuff is super exciting, and I definitely feel blessed that I've had those moments, because like really just, at the end of the day, it's like, what's the chance, right? What's the chance of that happening? I want it all filmed when it's happening, right? So I can play it back and look at it, but that's not how it works.
Well, it's funny, Jimmy, because I sometimes pinch myself that I'm talking to you and I am filming it.
There
So
you go, because you have it. And it's, you know what, and it's all it is like that. Like I'll say Shane Black, and 90%, 99% of the world won't know who that is until I start naming his credits, right? And that's how it is basically. We absorb so much every day. And I think it was Walt Disney that did it most, was when Walt Disney Studios came on. There was only one guy. People thought Walt Disney did everything,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And then as we get older, we realize hundreds of animators and hundreds of designers, and there's a director. Oh, Walt Disney didn't direct that? No, Um, so as we do a deep dive into things, we start realizing the people that behind the scenes. I I don't have an ego with the stuff. I'm happy people enjoy it, and every once in a while, I like to remind people that I did something. I'm like, I did that, or I wrote that video game. Um, but for the most part, I'm just happy, and when somebody like when Margot Robbie comes up to you and flashes you that smile and talks to you for 10 minutes, you're like, that's a movie star. They have this Margot has this presence about her. She's like bigger than life, probably the sweetest person you'll ever meet. She's a genuine, no wonder why everybody likes her. You never hear anybody talking crap about it. She is a genuine, wonderful person. Amanda and I could not say enough about her. She gave us a little bit of time each time, and that's more than we would ever expect from somebody. So yeah, it happens once in a while. Not everybody's like. Sometimes you meet the stars and they're, hey, how you doing? Why are you talking to me? Um, it's funny because Dave Johnson and I were at a party, and Henry Cavill was at the party, and and he had like a circle of security around him, and he was talking to people, and Dave looked at me, he goes, it'd be nice to say hi to him. We both work on Superman comics and stuff, and I'm like, we could try, and we walked over, and of course, a guy comes up, hey, how can I help you? And we're like, oh, we just wanted to say hi to Henry. And they're like, oh, does he know you? And I'm like, no, we work at DC, we work on the comics. And he heard that. He was talking to somebody, he heard that. And he goes, oh, let those guys come in. They're comic creators. Let them come over. And we got to talk to him, and he was of course, he was super nice. He's Superman, right? So, um, but he, like he got all the cool credits for us, you know what I mean? Because he was like, he let us come over and we talked to him for a while, and we're polite. We were like, okay, it's time for us to go. We were taking up
Yeah.
your time. Um, so that stuff sticks in your head, man. You think about that years from now, and people say, "Oh, Henry Cavill." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I met him once," and I'm like, "Get out of here, you did not." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I do. I have a crappy photo of it."
Yeah.
Um, but again, they're regular people, and you know you can't get too crazy about that stuff. And you know, I tell you, I'm more fascinated the times I've been in the studio to go on the set of things, like to go on a Big Bang set, you know, and sit in Sheldon's chair. That was like a big goof for me. You know, that was like, can I sit here? And you know, the producer's like, yeah, go ahead, Jimmy, sit in the chair. Take a picture of me in the chair. You know, it's like goofy stuff like that is sort of my Disneyland for other people. You
Yeah.
know, I do like the process of film, and I do love the way you know, I'm in love with the way music is married to film. I'm very like I love that part of film, you know, to tell a story and then have music because it's the one thing we can't have in comics, right? I mean, I did do a book called Denver that had a soundtrack was made by a guy named Hans Carl who did a beautiful job. But I think we're all frustrated. Every comic person is a frustrated filmmaker. I think on some level, you know.
That's great, and that I think that should take us to the wrap up right here. And I just want to say, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here, and anyone who watches this is lucky to have heard from you. So
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. It's great seeing you again.
absolutely. All right, guys, that'll take care of us. Thank you very much for listening to Comic Talk. I hope to have some great guests for you in the future. If you're watching this, I haven't put it up here, but if you're watching this, you probably have already seen the Dan DiDio interview I did. It went great. Thank you everyone for being here with us, and we'll see you next time on Comic Talk.